What is that? Okay, so hey, this is my comeback to site. Just like I said, I'm now walking back to site. I've just come from a journey. I think it's about 3 hours journey, and typically this is a remote community, not developed. Everywhere is like virgin land, no standing structures. Everywhere is for agro or agrarian exploitation. So this is where I'm headed, back to site. So today I want to talk about what is most troubling: faith. Because most people see others who demonstrate a kind of audaciousness or audacity as authentic, and those who seem not so audacious, maybe calculating, maybe intentional or deliberative, as inauthentic. And that is a problem: having faith in the wrong people and doubting the right people. Sometimes I wonder, do we really know the nature of evil versus the nature of good? By nature, good is timid, mild, modest, prudent. Just mention all the virtues. You see that the good is a virtuous life. So when you see a good person, you don't expect to see arrogance, rudeness, and showy offness. This also reflects in everything the good does. For you to even know what is good, you will see it being calm, being calculating. Everything seems premeditated in terms of not sporadic, not spontaneous, not exhibiting any sort of exuberance or overexcitement, over optimism. Everything is in moderation. That is how you know the good. The good takes time to express or present information and details and facts, and avoid misconstrual, misrepresentation. The good seeks clarity, vividness, and transparency is its hallmark. So when someone pays attention to details in presenting information, you should know that this is good. When somebody takes you through a learning curve, a process of self-education, capacity building, you should know that this is good. This is something that is sustainable, something that is well researched, something that is based on concrete evidence, life pursuit, real and genuine ambition. But the nature of evil is different. Evil is self-imposing. Evil is intolerant of sometimes opposition. Evil is bold and audacious. And then evil is arrogant and rude. Evil also cares not about boundaries and consequences. When evil is reflected, how you know what is evil is in the forcefulness in which it is presented. Forcefulness, it always gives you that sense of urgency without any merit or justification why it is urgent. It puts you at a position of, if you don't take the decision in this way, only one way to entry. it doesn't present you with options that allow you to choose with time or make up your mind. Now, I am bringing in this comparison between good and evil because the project I have been talking often about, which is my PSL luxury lifestyle brand and the PSL co-work network that is building physical hubs in different locations. I take my time to talk about this project elaborately in different facets. Every question I get, I try to answer it publicly so that it can serve the interest of those who are getting to learn about it for the first time, who may not have been part of the earlier adopters. Okay, so no presumption that they already have the information. And I take no offense in the questions asked. No question is dumb. Every question seeks clarity and explanation, and I do the best I can to provide clarity and explanation. Still also with patience for those who are learning and still trying to make up their mind. I do not coax people into decision making or taking any action, because most people, when they are not well informed, could rashly choose a path only to find out it does not fit well. Then if the system does not care about them, they are left to deal with the consequences alone. Sometimes these consequences could be irreversible loss, and it is not good to lure or coax people into making financial decisions that they will not be happy with in the long run. So, as a founder of PSL Co-work Network, building PSL luxury co-work hubs, I exhibit no tendency of evil in my style of presentation. I put in all the qualities of goodness, because a tree you see is known by its fruits. Even the scripture said it well when it says, from the days of John the Baptist, the kingdom of God suffers violence, and the violent ones take it by force. Now, there is one thing about this passage and how it reflects in business experiences. People who exhibit evil tend to exhibit traits of violence. Violence in the way they say things and the way they do things. It may not be physical violence, it may be emotional violence. They might put you in a sabotage position, one-way option, that if you did not choose the way they wanted, they tag you a bad name or make you feel bad about your acceptance or refusal or rejection of their proposition or proposals. So this is violence, and that is the nature of evil. And there is one thing about good and evil. As good is not forceful, but modest, prudent, considerate, and moderate, good also tends to accommodate disappointments, refusals, and accept rejections. That is good. So good is always open-ended and free most times for you to try first and make up your mind later, not minding its own loss. So good is self-sacrificing in order to test durability, reliability, and sustainability. Good makes so much sacrifice to make sure that the project, the vision, aligns with its values and stays authentic, doesn't get corroded or corrupted with time and pressure. So good resists acting under pressure or coercing people to act under pressure. Everything good is tested and trusted. But you see, the opposite, which is evil, it is always short-lived. And because it was meant to be short-lived, it uses pressure tone to be presented. And this pressure tone, most people cannot detect it. They feel if they do not act the tend to miss out. So it's called FOMO, fear of missing out. So emotional triggers also are leveraged by evil to try to make claims that make you emotional about the decisions you are going to make or take. And by so doing, they tend to expedite action, even when those actions will be detrimental to the actors. So that's the nature of evil. Now, if you x-ray all that PSL Luxury Lifestyle brand presents through my recordings, you will notice that we have been consistently diplomatic in every way and also avoiding ambiguity, therefore making sure that we provide all information necessary to encourage intentional acceptance, okay, not coax acceptance. So I've made these points clear so that you can make your mind up about supporting PSL Luxury Lifestyle brand, PSL Co-work Network. I hope with this intro to the nature of good and evil, you can decipher for yourself what we have been about and how important it is for you to make up your mind in time. While I've talked about the equity stakes available, I've not tried to push you also into just acting just because these stakes, yeah, if you miss them now, you won't get them again. I've still tried to provide information that will ensure that you get the value at the end of the day. So here I am. Like I said, welcome back. All right, so we talk later. Eze ndị eze. Eze ndị eze. I see you. So, have you now agreed with me that by nature, evil cannot turn to good? Because the seed of evil only grows to become more evil. And good cannot turn to be evil ultimately, because the seed of goodness will only grow to become good or better or best. Okay? So, but evil is always evil. You will not say it is more evil, it is the most evil. Evil is evil, always evil. So this is reflected in businesses. When you receive a business proposal, look at the language with which it is expressed. Weigh the heart from which it was created. Okay? So the expression, they say, out of the abundance of the heart speaketh the mouth. So nothing processed, okay, from the heart will come off different. Evil cannot hide its nature. Evil can pretend to look good, but its nature will always be reflected. So look for the nature. Know the nature of that thing before you engage with it. So if you were being thorough in investigation and you looked at all the information I've presented, and you had this philosophical mindset where you look for the origin, the nature, the purpose, and the ultimate or fundamental meaning of things, you could easily access that PSL is a project that has underlying nature of goodness, is end or has the end or purpose of goodness, okay, is originated from goodwill, which is goodness also, and its meaning, all the values it communicates, is also summarized in goodness. If you understand PSL this way, then you will come in now that I need your input to support this project so that it will benefit the many others out there who, if it doesn't succeed, will not benefit from it. Okay? It's also like when something is evil. If you support it early, it will also afflict so many others who, if you had not supported it, they would not have been victims. So the same thing, when you starve goodness of your support, the beneficiaries of that goodness are starved. Invariably, it is an implication. So think about your action. You are not coming into PSL simply because I offered you equity. Yes, equity is because you came in early, because you can still come in and there will not be equity for you, depending on if my message is received widely. Sometimes because of the tone in which I present it, it will seem like many persons will be bored to accept my message. And because of the detail in which I present it, many persons might not have the patience to go through it in details. You see why, right? Because people are always in a hurry. And evil is presented in a manner that captures people's short attention span. You see, so it wants to deliver all the information within a short amount of time, making itself look good and understanding your own needs. Okay, that is how evil, it was meant to be appealing, to be customized into what you prefer, what you like. Okay, what you desire and how you feel, what you fear and what you want, your greeds and your pride. That is how evil. So evil takes advantage of all the advertising principle. But you see, good does not have any intention to lure you, because it was not built for the short term. That is why I always say that those I need in PSA are not those who have short-term mindsets, those who just want to cash in on an opportunity right now and run away. No, I want people who can sustain PSL and who will be with PSL as it grows, because PSL is a life journey. It's not a one-day trial and error, okay, experience. So if it fails, we run away. No, PSL is such a project that if it does not work the way we want it now, we are only going to improve on it, just like a software. Okay, when you have invested huge capital into developing the software, because of one glitch will not make you to abandon the software. Okay, so I have talked about the nature of good and evil, and I want to also talk about the look, the outlook, the visage, the appearance of good and evil. Now, in several occasions, okay, I noticed that most people they write away something on the basis of appearance. Okay, if it doesn't look embellished with luxury at the onset, they write it off, that it does not meet their taste, it does not appeal to their fancies, all right, or their styles. It lacks texture. But that doesn't immediately mean that it is not good. It might not look good because it was not designed to deceive. Okay, it might not have the appearance of beauty at the surface, but internally it is enriched with goodness. Okay, it is like something crude that needs to be refined. First, it has to be accepted before it becomes, you have to recognize the value not on the surface but on its hidden constituents, because the constituents are always hidden. So you need to look inward, not outward, to see the real value, not the perceived value. Perceived value can also be a false claim, but real value is internal. It can be analyzed. Okay, you can do sampling and then look for, in testing you look for the contents, okay, and then weigh or measure the amount of each component before you can attest to the true value of something. So that it is crude means that it needs input of processing. Okay, so back to talking about the appearance of good and evil. So most things are not as valuable as they appear, especially when they were designed to just attract wider acceptance. They may not ultimately be that valuable, neither would they be sustainable in terms of real value or quality. Okay, so maybe you could see the outward or outer layer, it will look good, appeal nicely, and then satisfy you momentarily, but in the long run it may be like a bubble gum that is coated with sugar. So when you chew out the sweetness, what is left is just a gummy substance, okay, that you get tired of and you throw away. So no long-term value. Now, bad has always been couched to appear attractive, to appeal to fancies and fantasies, desires, and curiosity, rouse curiosity. So bad things are intentionally designed or crafted to be appealing on the surface. That is why many people fall for bad things, okay? Many people pay top dollar to get something that is of low value in the long term. Then some of these same people who spend top dollar to get low quality things will hardly spend a cent on a quality thing. When something that is going to reap them is serve them, because it is designed to reap them, they will fall victims and be reaped. Now they will now gather experience from being reaped, an expression of greed, of course, that they fall for things that appear, good, appealing, and they don't do their research for depth, okay? Then when they are served with the quality ones, you see them narrate experiences of having burnt their fingers. These are the same people who never did any research before committing to projects that they felt we are going to serve them long-term benefits, right? Long-term interest. This is what I'm talking about, the appearance of good and evil. Good does not want to just attract you on the surface. It wants to know how you value it. Okay? So good wants to be for those who really value it. So it always has the sweetness hidden, not exposed. Why bad always exposes the sweetness, okay, and leaves hidden the part that is not sweet. So you don't expect that when something good is served you, it will be fashioned in a manner that appeals to your fancies, your appetites, your fantasies, your cravings, okay? These are fleeting surface value that will not be there in the long run. It's like chasing after beauty and not looking for character, okay? So in the appearance of good and evil, it is good that you learn to test, look for content, internal unity and composure, which I represent as a founder of PSL Co-work Network. So one of the beautiful things about this travel or reporting back or returning back to site is that I'll be sharing more life experiences rather than doing more of a package content delivery. And these are all part of the story of PSL, because PSL is coming from someone's real life experiences as a professional. All of the values, okay, designed for PSL did not just come off thinking of a way to make profits. They are designed to serve goodness to those who deserve them. So when this has been presented in different formats, different recordings, and so many persons still don't embrace it, you already know that it was not meant for all, okay? It is a good thing that someone out there is listening or watching and also feeling motivated or inspired to act or to get into the program. And then another person or many more persons are showing no concern, lack of interest, not paying attention, and not also wanting to be, influenced, because they are narrating or recounting bad experiences. But like I said, the bad experiences come from not testing. not looking into the hidden quality, okay, rather than the surface appearance of goodness. Bad always tends to pretend to be good. It's like what the scripture calls a wolf in sheep clothing. But good has no time for makeup, no time for externalities, no time for uh, really influencing you to change, okay, your judgment. It allows you to judge. Good allows you to judge, decide for yourself freely, and then when you have made up your mind, you walk in. But from this story I've narrated so far about the PSL project, you see, despite being given time to choose, remember that I'm calling for founding benefits, those who will receive founders benefits, which means it is timed to expire when all available equity has been grabbed by those who recognize the opportunity, served them as valuable, and took action to grab them. While those who did not see value in them will still at the end miss out. So it's nobody's fault that someone misses out, someone else grabs it, and so on and forth. But for wider merits, okay, for a fair basis of giving everyone an opportunity, equal opportunity to receive the values created or the value added, okay, I am making sure that the information is out there. One can make up their mind based on information available and decide properly to come in knowing what they stand to benefit from coming in. And if you are one of those persons who like quality, who like value, who pay attention to details, then I'm talking to you also. Choose PSL, luxury lifestyle brand, and come in now either as a stakeholder or as a promoter, so you can enjoy the benefits that are now going out for those who are among the founding team supporters. If you are one, then we'll both share in the goodness of PSL. Nothing to regret at the end of the day. All right, we'll talk again in another edition. So for now, I'm reporting back to site.